Alright, so today we are going to be installing the Pepwave LTE antenna on the roof of our Momentum 397TH toy hauler. It's a fifth wheel. And this antenna that will come in your kit is actually what they call a 7-in-1 antenna. So what it does is, the reason it's 7-in-1 is there's 7 wires here, right? So, and the 7 wires are 4 LTE cables for the 2 LTE modems. And then there are 2 Wi-Fi cables, which you can use for your Wi-Fi WAN or your Wi-Fi broadcast also to connect all your devices to it. And then there's a little small cable here for GPS. Whether or not you use GPS or not, it all comes all in one cable. So when you run this down into your modem, you'll have all the cabling you need all to one device. So what we're going to do here a little bit different today than, you can actually take this particular unit or this particular antenna and put it right on the roof of your toy hauler. You can drill a hole and just stick it right on there. It actually has 3M sticky back, double-sided foam tape here, which will actually hold it down fairly well. You don't really have to put the nut or anything in. There is a nut that comes with it, which I already took off here, but the nut that is screwed onto here. So if you're putting it on something like a piece of metal or something, you can screw this nut onto it. But most toy haulers you're not going to be able to get, or any kind of RV trailer or RV per se, you're not going to be able to get up in there to actually screw this on. You don't really need to. So you can just attach this to the roof, and the neoprene double stick 3M tape will actually keep it secure. And once you put some self-leveling sealant around it, it'll be in good shape. So we are going to do something a little bit different on our particular unit here, because we have some solar panels up on the roof, and we'll show you those when we get up there. But because of the solar panels, I don't want this thing setting too low and having it interrupted from signal strength, where it's bouncing off the solar panels and stuff. So I want it to set up above the solar panels. So what I did is I went to Home Depot, bought this. It's advertised as an 8x8 box, but it's really 9x9, so it's kind of strange, but which is good because this antenna is just a little bit bigger than 8 inches diameter. So what I did is took the box here, which you can see I already just found the center, and I drilled a hole in the box there that will actually allow this to fit through there. And then we're going to run this on top of the box. I drilled another hole here so we can run the cables through down to the roof. But by putting this box on the roof, it'll actually sit above all of the solar panels and so forth, so we don't have any interruption in signal strength. That's the intent here. So what I'll do real quick here, so you definitely want to make sure you clean all of the surfaces really well before you put any of the sticky tape on there so that it doesn't come off. So we'll go ahead and so I'm going to clean this off really good with some rubbing alcohol, and then we'll get this attached to here. Kind of get this prepped a little bit before we go up on the roof, and then we'll show you what we got up there. So let me get this prepped, and then I'll show you how we got it prepped together, and then we'll pick it up from there. All right, so I'm just peeling off this double-sided tape here. It's extremely sticky, so you definitely want to make sure that once you get it off here, once you stick it, it's not going to move. If you take it off after that, it's going to ruin it. So first thing we'll do is we'll stick this to the actual antenna itself. Get that nice and sticky there. I'm going to clean this off a little bit before we get too crazy. Oh, watch out for that. And this is just rubbing alcohol. It should just clean everything pretty good. And it dries pretty fast too. So. That side, let's dry up a little bit. Again, this 3M, this comes with the antenna, so you don't have to buy it or anything. It already comes included. So, just run out these cables through the hole. Alright, so you might want to flip it upside down, try to get this thing squared on there as best you can. Probably doesn't really make much difference. I don't think anybody's going to ever look at it once you get it actually installed up there. So, but if you're crazy like me, you're going to want it straight for some reason. Oh, one thing I almost forgot. What I would like to do before I put this down, just to provide a little bit of extra protection, I'm going to put some of this self-leveling lap sealant. You definitely want, anytime you're doing any work on your roof or anywhere on the RV that is going to penetrating to the outside elements, don't just use regular caulk, silicone, anything like that. It's not going to work properly. You really have to pay the extra money. It's not too much more expensive. But this lap sealant by Dicor is it's specifically designed for RVs, especially for the roofs. And it really creates this chemical bond to anything that it connects to. So it's extremely adhesive and prevents any moisture from getting in. So before I do anything, and you might want to zoom in here, but before I get all this all connected, I'm just going to put a little bit of bead of lap sealant around here, so that when I connect it there, it's just going to provide just a little bit of extra protection, a little bit extra sealant here, so that we don't get anything leaking in here. I don't want this thing getting full of water someday. After being on it for a while. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so it's a little messy, but well, I think that'll be fine. So now, put this thing on here, just on the top here, somewhere in the center, best we can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but press that down good. And then just for extra, to keep it connected even more, if you're using one of these boxes, you can use the middle nut here, and we'll screw that on just to keep it attached a little bit. Probably wouldn't hurt. I'm just going to put a little bit more sealant right around here. I don't know if you're like me, I don't like water getting in my rig, so I'll just way more than I probably ever need on here. Way less expensive than fixing a repair from a leak. Alright, and the nut should go straight on here eventually one day. There we go. Tight there. There we go. Now, oh crap, so wife's gonna kill me on this here. So now we got this, so now you got it, see it's mounted on the top plate, right? And then this just has 4 screws that's gonna screw onto that. I also put a hole through there, so once we get up on the roof, we get this squared up on the roof, and we'll route these down through the hole and then bring it through. So one thing I wanted to show you also, that definitely recommend before you do anything with your roof or put any holes in your roof or anything like that, it's recommended that you contact the manufacturer of the rig that you have, so that they can, if you call their customer support, most of them will give you some diagrams and information about how things are laid out in the rig, so that you're not drilling through wiring and stuff like that. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge, because as you'll probably find if you've been an RV owner for a while, to have exact diagrams how they run everything inside of these things is not really easy to get, because I think they just do whatever they want sometimes, so there's not really a standard. But if you're concerned about it, which I am deeply concerned, I didn't want to drill right through an air conditioning duct in my particular rig. I have ducts all the way to the ceiling. Last thing I want to do is drill a hole in the top and go right to an air conditioning duct, and then cause me a big other problem. So what I ended up doing is I kind of scoped out, and we'll show you when you get on top of the roof, where I kind of wanted to put the antenna. And then I've did just some verification, and one of the tricks that I use, I'll show you here in the bathroom. I knew exactly how far I wanted to come from the max fan in the bathroom on the top. So if you can find something inside the rig that you can reference exactly where you want to come down in, that's also something on the top of the rig, then you can kind of get some good measurements there to find out where everything's lining up. But in the bathroom here, I went ahead and took the max fan shroud off. It's kind of hanging down here right now, so we'll get it put back together. But I took the shroud off so that I could actually see up here, and I don't know if you can see up here, but you can actually see in the roof. So I know that I'm going to mount this thing, because I've already done the measurements, just a little bit behind where this max fan is up on the top of the roof. So I've just kind of reached up there with my hand and make sure that there's not any duct work or anything up there where I'm going to be drilling through, and it all seems pretty clear. So I should be in good shape once I drill the hole through. This will also help me, this access panel, this access here, will help me kind of get this aligned and get it fished down in when I need to bring the wire down in. So we're just going to leave that like it is, and then we'll probably use that later once we get once we start getting the cable routed down through here. So we're going to go up on the roof here, and I'll show you what we got to do up there. So we are on the roof. I don't know if you guys remember in the first part here we had, this is that max fan that we were just looking at, and that I'd reached my hand up in underneath the roof quite a ways back here, just to make sure I wasn't running into any obstructions or anything on the roof, so when I drill through here I'm not going to cause any damage to anything. So here's the same box that we talked about before. We did clean the roof here, and by the way, I don't know if you guys have used this, but this Dawn Power Wash is pretty cool stuff. I mean, it cleaned it really well. So we cleaned it really good with that, and then we just went over with some rubbing alcohol, so as you can tell how much cleaner this spot is than the rest of the roof. But you just want to find out where exactly you're going to place this. Now, I know that there's a wall that's right about here inside the rig, so I'm going to put it as close as I can here. I'm going to kind of drill in an angle, then I'm going to come up from an angle on the other wall, and I should be able to connect the two holes basically, so I can get the wires through there. So that is the plan. I'm hoping that works out as well as I think. So anyway, just kind of figure out where you're going to put the box, which I think looked good right there. I kind of like this also because it's like right on the top of the roof, so I think it gives us the best height that we can probably get for the antenna. And then I'm just going to mark right there where I'm going to drill the hole. I'll move this out of the way. We'll get a hole drilled here, and then we'll finish the installation of the box. So right here's our hole. So let's go ahead and drill this down in. I know it's very nervous drilling a hole into your rig, but you see how big these holes are. So I mean, it is very possible to deal with that without having too much problems. Now we are going to kind of rip apart the roof a little bit here, but that should be expected. I'm going to drill it a little bit of an angle so it kind of easier to fish down that way. There we go. And all right. So that looks pretty good. It does look like, oh, my finger. It does look like I'm right against a stud right there, but there is space around it, so I think I'll be okay there. So now we're not gonna attach anything or anything till we get all of the wires and everything fished through, and then we'll kind of get everything buttoned up and attached. But we want to make sure we have the best angle and ability to fish the wires through, but that hole should be plenty big enough to get the wires through. So now what we need to do is go down from the inside, drill another hole, and then see if we can get some fish tape between the two holes so that we can get a path to get the wires down. So we'll meet you back downstairs. All right, so we are in the inside now. We want to bring this down right above this cabinet because we're going to mount our modem and Wi-Fi access point and everything on top of this cabinet, so it's kind of hidden in the view. So what I kind of did just to make sure, I know where I drilled the hole in the top. It was pretty much right in the middle of that max fan, you know, as far back as we could go. So I took a measurement on the inside, how far from the outside wall to the max fan was. It's about 4 feet to the middle of the fan. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I measure from the wall here about 4 feet over, got that marked up here, and I'm just gonna drill a hole kind of in the same, you know, at an angle towards, because I know I'm not quite on this side of the wall on the top. And then with any luck at all, we'll be lined up enough where we can fish the wires through. So that is the goal here. So let's go ahead and get this drilled and see what happens. Smaller bit here, I'm just going to drill a little pilot hole to get me started so that my drill doesn't go all over the place here. All right, so I don't have, what would be better here is if I had like a right angle drill that I could just put up there and then just drill right into there, but I don't have one. So I'm gonna try to do it with the hole saw here, which I think will work okay. I just need to get a big enough hole that I can fish it through. So we're gonna give this a try. So it looks like we got the hole good enough there. I'm going to do this a couple stages. I'm going to take advantage of that vent that I have over there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run my fish tape from here over to the vent, and if I can get that there, I'll pull a pull string there, and then I'll run it from the top over to the vent as well, and then I'll be able to connect the two pull strings together to get a straight shot up in there. It's going to be really hard to get from this little hole right up into the little hole there, so I'm going to try to see if we can get a fish tape over to the vent there, and then go from there. I don't have a fish tape. You can just use a coat hanger or something, but if you're an old cable nerd like me, probably have one of these maybe still laying around, but let's see if we can get see if I can catch it on the other side. Alright, so I got it in there. I'm gonna go get some string to pull it back with. Got some string on the other side, I'm gonna pull it back. Hopefully string will come with it. Not too much difficulty. But looks like it's hung up with something. You can see what's going on. Use a stick without running some little bit of electrical tape on it so it don't keep snagging. There we go. So there's the string. Now again, this string's just going over into that vent. So that's not only half the battle. We got to get a string from the roof into the vent. We can tie them together. Then we'll have a pull string to go all the way through. So back up to the roof.
All right, we're back in the bathroom here where we have this vent open and Russ is on the roof. He is going to send his fish down. You might be able to see him through here. He's gonna send his fish down. We're gonna attach this yellow rope to it. Use a little electrical tape and get it moving, so. Yep, I see it. All right. I'm gonna attach the... Okay, that's good. And I'm just gonna adhere the rope to the fish tape so that it doesn't get stuck on anything because there's this hook on the fish guy. So that's probably way too much tape, but that's what you get when you ask me to help. All right, there you go. All right, I know that you can't see this, but what's happening on the roof right now is Russ is putting the wires through that box that he's mounting on the top. And we'll show you the finished product when we're done. But right now he is taking all of the ends of the wires for the antenna and he's gonna tape them together so we can fish them through here to the bathroom. And then we're gonna go from the bathroom over into the top of the hutch in the kitchen. Okay. All right. I've got the end, and it's caught on the other end. Okay, there we go. Do you see what happened here? That's okay. We'll be able to fix it. Do you want me to pull more cord out? Okay. There we go.
Don't pull all the cord, actually. Pull all the cord. You shouldn't pull.
Okay.
Don't pull that. Just pull the cord. Pull just the yellow cord.
Oh, okay.
Just pull all the yellow cords down here.
All the cord that I can get. Oh! I think I accidentally might have pulled from the kitchen.
It's okay.
Okay.
You pull it all the way out.
Yeah. Sorry. I pulled all the yellow cord.
Pull the black stuff.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, keep going. I'm gonna get as much of the slack out as I can.
Okay.
All right, so took a little finagling, but we got it all in. So here's all of the cables here. We will get these unwrapped, get them ready to install. Next piece here was going to be, I'm going to go back upstairs or up on the top, and I'll show you guys how to just seal that box and get everything all sealed and finalize on the top. Then we'll button everything back up from the max fan and stuff in the bathroom. Get everything back to normal, and all we'll have is our cables hanging here. And we'll have that'll be it. The antenna will be installed. All right. Okay, so got the cable down inside. You know, you see us drill the hole up here. So we got all the antenna. Just make sure when you're putting all this together, if you're using the box, don't run the cable down through and then get up here and say, oh crap, I forgot to put it through the box. That's not going to be good. You have to start all over again. So when I was up here earlier and running the cable down, I made sure I ran it through the box like it is now. So I'm just going to lift the box up a little bit. It's all still clean up underneath there. I want to put some of this this die core up, goop it around the hole really good, and then we're going to goop it around where we're going to actually drill this box to secure it to the roof, and then we'll also put some goop around the edge. So just kind of give you an idea what this die core is. I mean, this is all die core stuff here. All this stuff, all these little patches. It really is a great sealant. I mean, I don't know, they just don't make anything better in my opinion. So there was a blob of this underneath here. When we pulled it up, it kind of, you know, tried to pull up some of the roof. That's how well it bonds. So it's really good stuff. But so I'm going to go ahead and get some of this stuff underneath there around that hole, and then we'll go ahead and get this thing mounted on here. Don't be afraid to use some of this good, you know, use it really good. Get it in that hole really good. It's really just going to provide that extra seal. Make sure everything is sealed up good. These holes, and then we're going to screw this thing down. This stuff is so goopy. I'm trying to not get it all over the place. It's not easy to get off once you do. Seal's going to go on there in a minute. Here, we'll put that on. Just trying to square it up as best as I can. Same thing on the other side.